Man, I am excited about this weekend. I'm excited for what Florida State may be able to pull off in the transfer portal, perhaps. Names keep filing in. We'll update you on that in a moment. I'm excited for Week 18, where 11 teams that have no idea of their fate. 5 open spots, ties the NFL record, 2006, for the most amount of spots available entering the final weekend. All kinds of weird action like that. A lot of games with playoff implications, to say the least. I mean, obviously at the top of that list for a lot of people would be Bills Dolphins, but there's a lot more than that going on, man. That includes our Buckaroos, Tom. I think you're decked out just as I am, buddy.
You know, as we piped in and I see that studio and I miss it on a Friday, especially the Friday energy of the studio is always a good one.
Yeah.
I saw I was wearing the wrong garb. I had not put on Buccaneers gear, and so I broke out the old Evans creamsicle today because it's win or go home.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, right?
I don't think you're going to win next week, so might as well win this week and get that banner and be done with it. So let's go ahead and beat Carolina and just go get that done.
It'd be 3 straight NFC South Division championships, buddy. That's what that would be. Flag the fly, fly the flag high. It's true. Hey, Brett, right off the bat in the chat, I see you looking out for me. Straka -6, 3 off the lead. You're dog right is what you are, buddy. That's right. You're damn right he is. Hey, I have some flyers in play right now on that Century tournament, and we're looking okay in some spots here. I've got some top 10s, some top 5s, and even a little pizza money on a future winner. And that future winner, what did I tell you? Plus 4,000 with Straka to be 3 off the lead right now? Woo, we'll do the show naked on Monday, baby.
Okay, I will take Monday off, but thank you very much, Brett, for getting it out of the way. This has been your Zaxby's of Tallahassee Sepp Straka update of the day. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brett.
Oh, man. Wouldn't that be something? I don't know. I did enjoy watching that last night. I had my laptop out. I went to a nice dinner, came home, got the laptop out, watched the event from Maui, went over to warchant.com. I was tuning in to Michael Langston's updates, Tom, wanting to make sure we had a little something going on in the transfer portal. Anytime a linebacker's name got mentioned, I went, ooh, all right. I like that. Let's see. What do we got? Is he going to sign? Is he any good? Let's go look at some film on this guy. Got to be better than what we have, I can tell you that. Got to be better than what we have at that particular position. I'm sure of it. I don't need to see him play. I'm going to bet the house it's better than what we got.
Yeah, so that's the interesting thing is towards the end of Michael's update last night when he was on Wake Up Live on the channel, and we posted the video. It's available on the channel just on demand as a transfer portal update. He's not afraid to say it now. He thinks it's going to be around a dozen when it's all said and done. A dozen new players in addition to DJ, in addition to Marvin Jones Jr. That would be 10 more or 11 more. So that would be a nice little overhaul and turnover for the roster for next year. If they do land that many players, then I do believe at that point an ACC championship is a reasonable expectation because you're not just bringing in a bunch of these guys for the sake of bringing them in. You're bringing them in to be better next year. I'd say probably 75, 80% of those guys would be about 2024 and what you can do this year.
Yeah, I'm measured in my enthusiasm. I don't care about sheer numbers. I care about quality. Yes, numbers matter. We've got to fill holes, and there are a lot of them. So I'm happy to now see more names in the coffers to choose from. That is good. That is hopefully to woo those individuals. But I'm also really looking out for quality here. I need an uptick in production at that position that I reference seemingly daily. And I need depth of talent, real quality talent. So, look, there are some guys out there, again, it's nice to watch. It's to watch some of the bigger names, whether it's Alabama players, whether it's, a tackle from this group or that group, whatever it might be. We've seen some bigger names out there that are interested. After losing initially a couple of folks, it makes you a little nervous. I was on edge yesterday as we did the show because I wasn't happy with the direction things were going. There wasn't a real good vibe going into yesterday's program about what was happening. So, we'll see at the end of the day who they get, and then we'll assess and talk more about what it is they got to do. I also know to be patient. I've learned very carefully that there's a lot that happens. It's not just this week. It's not just these next few days, right? We know. And then I am excited about a few of the players obviously coming back. So it's not like I'm dogging the entire roster. I hope people understand that too. I'm harsh on a couple of position groups that I think are lacking. And then but on the whole, I think that Florida State's overall amount of talent has been significantly increased, and it needs to continue to be if we're going to get to where we want to go. And that's what this is about.
Yeah, agreed. I think patience is a good play to some degree. I still think no matter what happens over the next month, because some guys could enroll late, and then obviously you got the window in the spring. Like, look, man, that front seven needs to get better out of the high school ranks, so we don't have to need this exercise every year. I would like it to get to a point where the portal is a luxury and not a lifeblood of what is going to help us and position us to be successful on a given year. It's great that we're good at it, because if we weren't, we wouldn't have gone 13-0 last year. We wouldn't have been close. So that's nice. And it's great that the Battle's End is there to help us retain the guys we do bring in and then go acquire maybe some new players. They wouldn't use that language. I will. But it would be nice if maybe, I don't know that we can do it next year. So I'm setting goals for 2026, baby. 2026, that January. Let's get it to be a place where it's a luxury, where you're just adding the final couple of pieces rather than something that's going to help you substantively build your program.
You share my enthusiasm for this weekend of NFL football. It's a good weekend to bet. It's a good weekend to you can really take advantage of some opportunities here, I think. Look, let me lay this out here for everybody, because I think this is pretty cool. And I was pretty surprised when I decided to get deep into the weeds with this. So as I mentioned at the outset here, NFL tying a record 2006 for the most amount of spots available entering the final week. A lot of games with playoff implications, and that Bills-Dolphins game is chief amongst them. But look at the game. Look at a game like the Texans and the Colts. You think back on this year, and the Colts lose Anthony Richardson. That was the big story going into the season. How would he play? And early on, the returns were pretty good, right? I mean, it was maybe going to fly for that first year because they were going to run him. They had chosen to do what you and I said they should do. If you draft him, you're going to have to wait on him to become a great passer, but you don't have to wait on him to be a unique runner. And they were using him. But, of course, the problem with doing that is you get the quarterback beat to hell. And he was beat to hell quickly. And that was the end of that. And so you thought, well, okay, that's the end of that. They got to go to Gardner Minshew. And in addition, you had the owner publicly feuding with his star running back coming into the season, which is bizarre. Firing of coaches each of the last couple of years. But Shane Steichen comes in, 38-year-old head coach, comes in from the Eagles and has been a badass in year one. The Texans draft C.J. Stroud. Turns out they got the right rookie quarterback that everybody's trying to figure out. And, 50-50 proposition with first-round quarterbacks. They get him. D'Amico Ryans has been awesome. And so, the winner in that game is in the playoffs. The loser is out. You can't get better than that in the final weekend of the season. This is it. Winner take all. Now, listen. If the Jags win, the winner of that game, the Colts and Texans that I'm talking about, is a wild card team. If the Jags lose, the winner of that game is the AFC South champion. So, sweet Jesus, you go from being a wild card team to the South champions and hosting a playoff game just like that because of other game results and obviously whether or not you win. The Bills, who could get the 2 seed or totally miss the playoffs. How bizarre is that? They've been one of the weirder teams in the NFL. Left for dead, obviously. They come back, win against Kansas City on the road. Then they kill the Cowboys 31-10. We all think they're back. Well, they squeak past a terrible Chargers team, 24-22. You're like, maybe they overlooked them. It was a weird game night, whatever. But then you watch the Patriots game, and you're like, good God. The Patriots turned it over 4 times and gave up a pick 6 and had the ball with a chance to win the game. What are the Bills doing? That thing was 27-21. Now, if they win, they're the AFC East champs. A loss, well, again, potentially, they could be out of the playoffs. If they lose and the Steelers and Jags win, they don't make the playoffs altogether. So win the division. Lose, hold on to your butts. If you're a Bills fan, that's where you're at that point. The Dolphins, meanwhile, maybe no Waddle. Against playoff teams, the Dolphins are 1-4 this year, a minus 84-point differential when they play good teams. Basically, the Dolphins suck when they play anybody who's any good. save for the time they played Dallas, which we're always suspicious of anyhow. The Bills are, 2.5 point favorites. Dolphins win, and they're a 2 seed. Loss means 6 seed, and we'll see you in Kansas City as we lay it out there. Bears-Packers, Tom. Old school Bears-Packers. Bears win, and the Packers are out of the playoffs. You don't think they want to do that? And if you're the Packers, you're thinking, well, sweet Jesus, why in the hell are the Bears 5-2 over their last 7? And in the only 2 losses they had a 75% win percentage chance of winning the game, and they choked it away. So they really should be 7 for their last 7. Weighted DVOA, they're a top 7 team in the last 8 weeks. Like all of a sudden. So think about that. Now you're a Bears fan. You're like, well, I don't know if we can beat the Packers in a meaningful game for the first time in this rivalry in forever, it'd be cool to knock them out of the playoffs. But then maybe Justin Fields come back, and I don't know if I want that, let alone Matt Eberflus, the head coach. But then again, I don't know, maybe they should come back. So we'll see. Should be noted here. Steelers lose Saturday to the Ravens, and the Jags lose in the early window Sunday to the Titans. Then the Broncos versus the Raiders becomes the tiebreaker. Neither of those 2 teams have anything to play for, but they would be determining the fate of the Steelers or the Jags. Yes, let's go. Let's drink and gamble and watch the hell out of the NFL this weekend. This is high heaven fun. Look at these scenarios. Please let that last one happen. Please give me that last scenario where a meaningless game between the Broncos and the Raiders becomes, in that scenario, the most important game of the year to the Steelers and the Jags. If they choke. And who's sure that the Steelers are going to win on the road against Baltimore, backups or not? I'm not. In fact, I'm taking the Ravens plus 3.5 all day long. Please, we know Harbaugh cares deeply, Tom. He wants to win freaking preseason games. You think he wants to win a regular season game? He's going to coach his ass off in that football. Mason Rudolph is starting for the Steelers. Pick the Ravens. Do it. And the Jags, you can't trust the Jags to beat anybody. Titans, problematic occasionally. This is going to be a great weekend, and I haven't even started with the Bucs. What do you do with the Bucs? If the Bucs lose to the Panthers, Todd Bowles is fired. On the spot. Don't even let him enter the locker room again. You throw his stuff out in the yard. All of it. It's out in the yard. Come get your stuff, loser. If he wins, he saves his job. The Bucs win the division, host a playoff game. This is ridiculous. And as a Bucs fan, I want the Bucs to win. I'd like to see Todd Bowles get fired. I think I win either way. I think I'm fine either way. I don't know. I think I want to say back to back with a smirk on my face. Division champions. What say you?
Well, there's a lot to sort through there, but I think one of the things the NFL does a great job of, I know that you're talking about you could go to a second window where a tiebreaker means something for 2 teams if a wild scenario happens. But generally speaking, they do a really good job of making sure that if there is something to be determined, it's within one window. So, like, even though Jacksonville could be playing for the division or not, the winner on Saturday night is celebrating in their locker room. They know that they're going to be playing again. So, it's not one of those things where it's like, well, we're thrilled to get the win tonight, but time to pack it up and see what happens tomorrow. I like that. I like that they put the 4:00 game between the Steelers and the Ravens. Yeah, there's implications for the Steelers, but it becomes more intriguing because the Ravens are going to be sitting a lot of dudes. They might be playing Dalvin Cook, who signed with them this week. They've had a ton of injuries at running back. Gus Edwards is their lead guy, Melvin Gordon, and now Dalvin Cook. It's like a who's who of 3-4 years ago in the NFL.
Dalvin Cook gets the chance to chase a ring, baby.
He does. And he's going to be fresh as hell because obviously the Jets didn't use him at all. Now the question is, did they use him very little because Breece Hall's awesome or because he's too old? We're going to find out tomorrow in that 4:00 window. I don't think you sign him to sit him on the bench tomorrow and let him acclimate. I think you sign him to play him right freaking now. Yeah,
and they will sit a lot of their guys. But again, we know how Harbaugh coaches. By the way, there's no end to the intrigue over the weekend. There is also a game that shouldn't matter, but will intrigue me and at least raise an eyebrow at some point. Rams 49ers, it's Carson Wentz versus Sam Darnold. This is a tryout to be the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos next year. Who are we kidding? That's what this game is. Here's some pizza money, Carson Wentz. Here's some pizza money, Sam Darnold. Come be the quarterback for the Denver Broncos. They've already told you they hate Russell Wilson. Go bring in a guy that'll run the system that he wants to run and, pay him like not even a quarter of what that freak show makes.
Well, I don't know who needs the Broncos to win if we get into the tiebreaker scenario. I'm not sure if that's the Steelers or Jacksonville.
The Steelers need the Broncos to win. If the scenario I laid out before happens, which means that the Jags lose in the early window Sunday to the Titans, if that happens, then the Broncos-Raiders become the tiebreaker, and the Steelers and Jags have to rely on these two teams. And the Broncos, that's what it is. Double checking my facts. Yep. Steelers, that would be the Broncos win, the Steelers get in, the Raiders win, the Jags get in.
See, the thing is that's advantage Pittsburgh because Sean Payton is operating with, I don't want to look like a clown because I benched Russell Wilson. And so you're talking about caring deeply from Harbaugh. Sean Payton's going to care very deeply in a meaningless game on Sunday because now his reputation's on the line. It's going to be him all offseason being joked about if he doesn't look more than he was for even giving up 70 points to the Dolphins earlier this year. He will be talked about for doing Russ wrong. And
I won't buy into that narrative. I don't care about that. Russ is nuts.
I think it's awesome. The more negative PR for all of those guys, the better.
They're all clowns. I'm not defending him. I'm saying, no, I'm not going to pile on in that way. There's so much more to pile on with Sean Payton. I'm just saying that in order to do so, I'm not joining the crowd that's behind Russell Wilson, of all things.
The only thing is I would say the Glazers at times are quick to fire you, and then at times they're all too patient. I don't think they operate in the middle very often. We say, you know what? It's a tough call, and I think the Glazers made the right call. They're usually kind of polar opposites. The worst case scenario is you lose to Carolina, and for some reason they don't fire him. I feel like that's within the realm of possibility. So let's just go ahead and win this football game tomorrow or Sunday.
I don't think it's in the realm of possibility. I think he's fired on the spot if they lose to Carolina. I mean, Jesus, have you watched the Carolina Panthers play? That is as bad a football team as we've seen in the league in a long time. And they drafted the wrong guy. Kid can't play. They're screwed for years. It's awesome. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Excellence defines us, so we'll never let orthopedic pain and injury define you. TOC is a physician-led team of fellowship-trained specialists providing the highest level of orthopedic care in the region. With 12 centers of excellence and TOC Now urgent care clinics, our patients access affordable expert care fast. TOC, only experts. Schedule an appointment at teamtoc.com.
This is Jamie McClenny with Trek Financial in Tallahassee. While domestic equities closed down for the third consecutive month at the end of October, valuations remain near historic highs based on most historic metrics. Managing downside risk in your portfolio is one of the biggest challenges you will face in retirement. While you can't control performance, you can control the risk in your portfolio. Markets are going to do what markets are going to do, but a clearly defined risk management protocol can help to mitigate large drawdowns in your retirement nest egg. Valuations remain near historic highs based on most historic metrics. If you're concerned where this might be headed, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule a time for a risk-focused portfolio review. Or you can visit us on our website at trektlh.com. That's trektlh.com.
Make Jamie your first call for that second opinion. Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now. so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
A cup of Joe, Java, brew, go-go beans, brain water, liquid lightning, wakey juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Hit grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check it.
And one of the weird and cool things about our relationship, and both as a friend, as a friendship, and as cohorts here, is that even though you're 15 years younger than me, it never really shows up all that often because we joke about it. You're an old soul. So I was wildly immature and probably still am to some degree. And you were too mature and I was too immature. So we met in the middle early on. And there are good and bad things about all of that, but it really worked out for the both of us, I think. But sometimes there is a news item or a reference to a player or a season, and it occurs to me, well, Tom wasn't even alive. He didn't even see this team play. He can read books and he's watched highlights, so he knows, of this player, but he didn't see this guy in college. Like, I can't make references to Dan Marino at Pitt and have you be like, oh yeah, man, he was awesome. You weren't even born.
No, I would say Ace Ventura, awesome movie. Good cameo for Dan.
Yeah, so like, it's tough. There are certain moments, and then there are things, and this is where it always strikes me. I say, I have to ask him about it. So here it's Libations Friday. It's loosey-goosey. We have fun on Fridays. We're supposed to have fun every day. But anyhow, the point would be, I read this very early this morning, but I do the hodgepodge stuff in the morning where I go all over the map, world news, whatever. And then eventually I funnel it all down when it's time to get serious and start show prepping to sports, but I don't start with sports. And I thought to myself, well, Tom might know about this because he's much more technologically savvy. This is where our age difference does come into play. I'm like the old guy constantly trying to figure out how technology works, especially if, and I'll ask you or Matthew or somebody or Matt Millar, like, hey, man, what's the deal with this thing? Should I have this? Do I need this? Everybody using this thing now? Yeah. And this is how I use it, right? I'm doing it right? Yeah. Okay, good job. I do a pretty good job with this. But I saw a story that in Ohio, so Ohio does what everybody does, every state does, right? they put up historical markers on roadsides. We do this in Florida. We do this in every state in the country. You see it on city streets. You see it on the front of buildings. It commemorates things. A lot of times where important events happen. And so it'll be like battles from the War of 1812, Neil Armstrong's birthplace, something like that. You're like, oh, well, how about that? By the way, my wife makes me pull over. She's a big history buff too, and so am I. So it's like, that's what happens. If we're driving down the road, oh, I saw a historical marker. Stop and see what that was. I'm like, come on, man. We're trying to get somewhere. But anyhow, she does it, right?
Hey, we're going to the corner pocket. Will you stop?
All right. So there is a marker being put up, Tom, in Ohio to commemorate the world headquarters of CompuServe. Now, this makes me feel 1,000 years old. CompuServe was based in Columbus, in a suburb of Columbus, Arlington, in Ohio. And it was founded 50 years ago. 50 years ago. CompuServe was the first widely available online services company. AOL before AOL. Now, you remember AOL.
Sure. That's where many nervous moments talking to girls when I was 11, 12, 13 years old. Yeah.
So AOL was where a lot of people had their first ever email. And CompuServe, AOL, all of that, where you went to forums, you read books, magazines, articles, whatever it might be. Read this too today. I did not know it. CompuServe invented GIFs.
Really?
Yeah, didn't know that. An employee did. Yeah, there.
So it was their employee that pronounced it properly, and everybody bastardized it. Okay.
Right. Well, I fought the good fight forever. Mm-hmm. Now, they were swallowed up by AOL, which in turn was swallowed up by Verizon, which later became Yahoo, at least from the internet stuff. And so there it is. It's a historical marker. So this is why I say I feel 1,000 years old. And maybe this makes you even feel old, because we're starting to put up historical markers to things about the internet. Email. Jesus, man.
Yeah. When I try to describe what AOL was like to my nieces and nephews, and even Director Matthew, who is far older than my nieces and nephews, they all kind of laugh. They say, what are you talking about? Broadband? Roadrunner? What were these things? Like, Roadrunner was badass in Tampa. That was the window to high-speed internet. And yeah, I didn't remember CompuServe, but when you said CompuServe, I don't
really remember CompuServe because, again, that's 50 years old and I'm 52.
But what it had me thinking was, is this like a headquarters for a retail store like a Circuit City or a CompUSA? Because CompUSA is old school too. I remember also the Gateway stores. They had the big theme of the cow box. Everything was cow this, cow that. And I remember going into the Gateway store for an LCD screen that cost my father $1,850. And it was, I think, a 15-inch LCD screen display for the Gateway computer that we got in 1999. And my mom said, "What are we doing?" And he says, "We're getting an awesome screen. That's what we're doing." It's gonna be And I was very happy. I was rooting him on. I don't want that old boxy glass screen, Dad. I want the one that when you push it, it does little waves. And that was what it was. Yeah.
What I'm going to do in a minute is talk Florida State portal and guys that are coming into town and all that. But before I get off this subject, I'd like to commemorate the first time I was ever traumatized by the internet.
Oh, no.
That's because that's what you remember most, right? Like the first time you got excited about something on the internet. Like I can tell you one of the coolest things early on was somebody said, "Look, man, you can find other people that like this album or this band, and there'll be pirated concerts. You can find entire shows from your favorite bands. It's illegal as all hell, but it's awesome. It's all right here. You just have to be very, very patient because it takes a long time to download these." And we're talking about dial-up. So you're just waiting, the whole thing, and you're sitting around. But then you could hear this show, right? But then later on, and I've told this to you, and everybody laughs. We all smile about this. When LimeWire happened, I'm like, look at this. This is amazing. I can type in shows. I can see footage from war. I can watch anything I want on this thing. And then somebody's like, well, don't do that. And I went, why? They're like, your computer's effed. You can't just keep downloading stuff from people you don't know. I'm like, sure you can. Look, they're shooting that building. So anyhow, I learned a very valuable lesson when I ruined a computer.
Yeah, the first time I was burned by the internet, it was actually more innocent. It was one of those little scare pranks where there's like a little bouncing ball, and then suddenly it makes a really loud noise, and I was wearing a headset, and it was The Exorcist's demon child, which I already had problems with. I've told you, I've had demon little girls, and I was maybe 10 or 11 when that happened. Man,
and the bouncing ball turned into this thing.
Right, it's like, no, listen closely to the voice bump. It goes, raw, and it's just this horrifying picture of the Exorcist girl. And there's actually
like 11-year-old Tom is staring at the screen, going, "Oh, sweet Jesus!"
I had nightmares for about a month. Yeah. It was terrible. It was terrible. I got. Now, there are videos on the old E-Bombs world. There's a name drop from about 25 years ago. There are videos before these things were viral, so to speak, of people getting scared by the very same thing and like falling out of their chair and stuff.
Right.
Thankfully, I was alone, so nobody was filming it on I guess it would have to be a camera, like a JVC. I don't even know.
I don't know. But yes, I've seen those videos. I just laugh that everybody has clicked on something they shouldn't have. And the next thing you know, your computer is screwed and you've learned a very valuable lesson. And that with me, it was like calling Matt Millar. Well, I mean, I wanted to see it was footage from Iraq. I thought it looked pretty crazy. I wanted to see it. And he's like, well, great, man, but you got it off a LimeWire. I can't save you. This computer's done. And that was me, like a dumbass. Anyhow, CompuServe, 50 years old.
And shout out Matt Millar, who wanted to send everybody to a waffle website that I won't say anything more about. But that was what he did to everybody at the radio station.
Matt Millar was a prankster when it came to links for a long time.
Or attachments via text. I'm sure we'll get one.
Attachments via text was one that got me in trouble with my wife. Hey, Matt just texted you. Oh, I'm driving. Tell me what it says.
That's a bad idea.
Tell me what it says. Oh, geez.
Never again. Yeah, I made the mistake of telling him once that we were having a conference meeting at the Four Letter.
I know the GIF that you got. I know the one. Yeah, great. Look at that. I didn't know that was possible. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Now, a new generation of teachers could get active shooter training before their first jobs. A bill filed in the Florida legislature will make that training a requirement to get a teaching certificate. Current teachers across the state receive active shooter training throughout the school year under state law, but Representative Daley said that training would be better before the teacher is in the classroom. Florida Parent Teacher Association Legislative Chair Nancy Lawther said the group supports future teachers getting this training. The proposal wouldn't add any additional class hours prospective teachers would need to get a teaching certificate in the state. The city of Tallahassee welcomed International Airport on Thursday. The city hopes the newest air service provider will result in more business and assist with flight traffic. JetBlue is set to provide daily nonstop service between TLH and Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport and will be offering a capacity of up to 162 seats. To celebrate the launch, limited $49 one-way fares will be available online only on JetBlue's website. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Kara Foster with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunny today with our high nearing 67. Some showers and thunderstorms likely overnight, cloudy with a low around 56. Southeast winds between 5 and 20 and gusting as high as 30. Some showers and thunderstorms likely into Saturday, otherwise some sunshine with a high of 72 and mostly cloudy with a low of 47 Saturday night. Sunny and 61 Sunday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 37 degrees.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor, or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The pan con lechon, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The pan con lechon, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news.
Hey, that's the good news. I think we're in real good shape with that young man. I'd be very surprised if we didn't get the commitment from Earl Little Jr. That's a good get. I think it's a good there's a good chance that we're going to get the Charlotte linebacker. Is it Nakai Hill-Green? Tom, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, he was on campus today, declined an interview about an hour ago, but yes.
I still feel good about him.
Okay. All right.
Well, look, we got an immediate playing time for you, buddy.
Yeah, if there's one thing we can sell beyond a robust collective, it's that there are snaps to be had. Yeah, for sure.
Interesting to see what will happen with the Ferguson kid. All right. We've got a little bit of positive momentum right now. I saw where Stephon Thompson has arrived for his visit. He's the Syracuse linebacker. Okay.
He also declined to speak when he left today.
Frankly, I just don't think I'd ever speak unless it was something that I was done with. The process was over. Like, I don't begrudge any of these kids for not speaking, especially if you're visiting like 3 or 4 schools. I don't know. You don't have anything to gain.
Yeah, I should probably clarify. When you're a transfer, yeah, it's very different than being a prep recruit in terms of interviews. Like, it's kind of expected if you're a prep to give an update about what you think, your top schools, all that kind of stuff. A lot of kids from the transfer portal say, I've already been there and I've done that, even if it's to a lower level and they're coming from a Charlotte or a Syracuse. They don't want to live that anymore. They just want to be about the business. I'm not carrying any tone about whether or not we get a kid or we don't get a kid. It's just
right.
They have left already. A lot of them do want to talk, but these particular 2 did not.
Pearson Toomey, the Furman offensive line transfer, is going to check out South Carolina. He mentioned his top 4 was Florida State, NC State, South Carolina, and Duke. He's pointing to this weekend as a time to make a decision. I don't care if he comes here or not. I wasn't moved when I looked at his film, but it's not up to me. We'll see what they do there. I am excited about the possibility of some other names, maybe even some that haven't been mentioned quite yet. So I'm watching very carefully with that. But I do think it is a really good get at a position where right now it's not exciting, but to get an Earl Little, who we wanted all along, to be able to bring him in, if they go ahead and close on that, I think his body type, his athleticism, he's a player, Tom. That would be very, very exciting.
Yeah, Nick Saban was talking about him potentially being the starter in the playoff game. So, I think that means that you would be getting a good one, and he's a player who could be a safety or a slot corner for you.
Well, he needs to be a safety for us.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But you know what? There are 2 types of safeties that we have. There is The guy who lines everybody up like Akeem Dent, and then there's the guy who plays near the line of scrimmage like a Shaheem Brown or Jamie Robinson.
I think he's that.
That second one. Yeah, right. Which essentially is kind of like a slot corner anyway. You're near the line of scrimmage. You might draw some assignments with some larger body types, but still you're a thumper around the line of scrimmage, which with a dearth of linebacking play, it really helps if you can have a hybrid player like that near the ball.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited about it. You just described exactly why I'm encouraged by the chances of us getting him signed, because I think that's what he is. I think he can be physical and he can play that dual role for you, and I like him. I think he's exciting to add to the ledger here. I think, and I also feel good about what I'm hearing. Seth writes, the Charlotte linebacker started at Michigan, has had solid numbers, transferred due to injury, could be a good get. Yeah, you're taking a chance there due to injury, but you're right, could be a very good get. I just listen. It's the funniest thing in the world. There are players that come from other schools that play a position of need that I watch and I go, well, I don't think he's a game changer, not a difference maker, and I'm a little bit more discerning when those players play positions like, I don't know, wide receiver, offensive line, maybe defensive back, running back. If you're a linebacker and you breathe and can run around a little bit, I want you to go ahead and sign with us. So when I see that there are guys that wherever they played, I'm like, yep, that's a good one. Bring him in. That's a good one. Because I'm tired of this scenario.
I think you would take a lot of guys, bring them in, and even if you have to overpay and go beyond 85 and take some kids off of scholarships because they proved they couldn't play in spring, it's still worth it to you. I think you would do that. You would bring in a bunch of guys in spring and say, look, this might be a very short time in Tallahassee. You will be well compensated for your short one semester stay in Tallahassee. But what the hell do you care? There's unlimited transfers. So come on down, because if you are replacement level, you are going to be one of our top 3 linebackers in 2024.
That tells you all you need to know. Tells you all you need to know about my feelings and my frustrations with that position. And I, again, attack this from the angle of we're still climbing, we're adding talent and depth, we're trying to be a championship team. It does not ignore the successes of the staff. It does not disparage the staff to say we got to keep climbing, keep getting better. We're not where we need to be. You can celebrate 13-0, and you damn well should. You can celebrate 13-0 and acknowledge it was a special season, because it was. It doesn't mean you stop there. It doesn't mean you don't point out areas of weakness. It doesn't mean you stop growing because you were excited about what just happened. I mean, I'm excited as hell about what just happened this past year. They are ahead of schedule. I'd like to stay that way. I'd like not to fall behind. I'd not like to take a massive step back and then suddenly find yourself with a very different sounding pitch after a 7-5 season. You know, this is what we're talking about, continuing to build and add and get better.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it stands to reason that if you review all of the good things that happened this season and 13-0, and you embrace it as you should, because this team was special. This was a team that got the most out of what they could bring to the table week to week. That's not always been the case for a playoff team or even a national championship berth, a BCS championship berth in Florida State history. This one,
pretty much right. Yes,
they got the most out of what they were every week, and they were so easy to root for 2 years. It was a really good club. That culture kind of carried over for the 2 years, but so many of them are out the door. And you're saying in the Orange Bowl, as you're watching the Orange Bowl, all right, who's up next? Well, I mean, there's a little bit of work to do with who's up next. That's the whole thing. If all these guys were coming back again next year, then the discussion's a little bit different. Maybe there's a little less urgency in our voice about what needs to happen this offseason. But most of them are gone, and you're going to be hearing a lot of names called in that final week of April for the NFL draft, and that's cool because it's been a minute since Florida State has been represented quite like that in the NFL draft. But that means that you've got tons of holes to fill, and some position groups are ready to go. Most of them are not, if you're trying to win an ACC championship.
Yeah, and I think you're right when you talk about, let's circle back. We love certain benchmarks along the way that save us and kind of salvage some of the dead time where we're able to invest in football again. And that is the draft, the NFL draft. And we always think of the NFL draft because of our favorite teams and because of that league. But I always think of it as well. When Florida State's good, it's an exciting time to watch guys that you covered and who starred for you meaning your favorite team or the team we cover. And in the case of Florida State, they haven't had a ton of guys go in the draft in recent years, and now they will. They're going to have a lot of guys. Now, they're not all first rounders, obviously, but this is a group, 8 to 12 that are going to see the NFL, and that's exciting. I know the NFL is better for me, and I love the league either way. I watch the games. I love it, but I really love it when I'm able to flip around if I'm on the red zone or something like that, and there's so-and-so, oh, there's so-and-so, oh, there's so-and-so, and Florida State is just literally littering the league. To be sure, it's also a really good recruiting advantage if you can look out there on NFL Sundays and see your players everywhere.
Well, I think this is another way to look at it too, about the work, defining the amount of work that needs to be done for the roster. This is going to be a nice year for Florida State. Well represented when they put the schools that have the most kids that were drafted. Florida State, I think we both expect will be in that top 5. And if the ball bounces right, combine results, maybe Senior Bowl goes right for a couple of kids, East-West game, maybe you get around a dozen, maybe a little bit more. All right, project to next year's draft. How many dudes are we sending? How many dudes are we sending to the draft next year?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. There's no question. There's a dearth.
There's a few defensive linemen that'll go. And if Ventrell does come back, then, he'll probably get drafted. But when you're looking at 4 or 5 before we do more work in the portal. Now, you can send a lot of one-year players into the draft next year, but that's where we need to get to work now and then in the spring window.
Also, I do want to note that when you have and this has come up a lot since the Orange Bowl game, but where players, the opt-out discussion that has been had a bunch over and over and over again. It seems like it's never ending. But when guys go to Senior Bowls, these are places that are obviously littered with NFL coaches and GMs. That is a very different thing. You're going to go to that. That is part of what you were preparing for. Oftentimes, it's what you opted out for, was to get ready to go to something like that. So if you had a nagging injury that you needed to have taken care of with minor surgery, you understand why they opted out of the Orange Bowl once we found out we weren't going to the college football playoff and had been screwed and you needed surgery, but it was the kind of surgery that would keep you out of a bowl game but allow you to be ready to compete at a Senior Bowl before NFL scouts and GMs and coaches. Then you were going to do that, and a lot of guys did. And then there are other guys who just had nagging injuries that didn't require surgery but really cost them at the end of their season. Most notably, I think Keon Coleman comes to mind. He was a shell of himself over the last several weeks of the season. He couldn't really run. All the speed was gone. And you would see prime examples of that. Now, that's not a guy that necessarily needed surgery, but it was a guy who needed time to rest. If you got a bone bruise or a deep thigh contusion or something along those lines, you need to get that right. But the Keon Coleman we saw running away from LSU defenders and others in the first half of the season was nowhere to be found late in the year because of that injury. That's a guy that's going to opt out for his NFL future, and understandably, but he has to get right for the combine or any of the private workouts that they're going to have. I mean, these are the things that you would expect guys to do. So again, I don't have a problem with any of that, but those are very different things, because I've had people approach me about that. Say, well, if you're not going to play in the bowl game and be with your brothers, why would you go to a Senior Bowl? Well, wait a minute now. Those are not the same things.
Oh, I would hope that would stand to reason. I mean, you put your wares before the eyes of NFL. This is the goal. Like, can we just say that point for a moment really quickly? I'm a Nole. You're a Nole. I'm a lifelong Nole. It's the first level of football I loved was Florida State football. And it's always the one I'm going to love the most. I'm wearing Bucs stuff because I grew up in Tampa, and I love the NFL too, but I love college more. But can we just say out loud that while kids are even being paid right now in college, when you come to Florida State, you're looking at it as the experience of a lifetime, but also a stepping stone to where you want to be. It's okay. Like, that's fine. There's always going to be a relationship, even before NIL and wherever we're going, where you're both using each other a little bit, but you can love each other along the way, and you can be a legend and come back and be honored forever. But the goal is to go a higher level than what we cover and what we love. That's okay. I don't know why people are afraid of that.
I just thought of something pretty hilarious. When you compared the relationship and noted that a player is going to use a university and a university is going to use a player, but you can love each other along the way. You know that that's basically a Bob Seger lyric.
It is. And
you had to know that I was going to do that, right? I mean, I used her, she used me, but neither one cared. Come on now, Tom. That was well done on your part.
It is, but I also know you so well that I'm like, he's going to go night moves on me. He's going to go night moves.
Well, as soon as you did it, I was like, Carl, my man, there you go. Way to use a line.
But the difference is in that song, neither one cared. You care greatly. If you come to Florida State and they care greatly about you.
No. You can tell yourself that. I don't care if they do or they don't. As long as both get the most out of that situation. I don't care if Florida State players and coaches love that player or if that player loves Florida State. It's ideal. You'd prefer it. But if both are kicking ass, I don't really worry about their personal feelings towards one another.
As long as we're getting our share.
You did it. Served it up and he made it happen. Hour number 2 forthcoming. I got to get my picks in with Mama. She's still 2 up because last week we picked all of the exact same games. I suspect that will not be the case this go around because I'm going to take advantage of my mother's lack of knowledge regarding how many players are playing for one team and not the other and who needs it and who doesn't, because she cares, but she doesn't care that much, and I doubt she's checked. Here comes the big comeback, baby.
Tish, and I'm here to tell you about TCC's first semester. In the fall of 1966, about 300 students were expected to enroll at the brand new Tallahassee Junior College. A total of 698 enrolled, exceeding everyone's expectations. The campus was not finished, though, so classes took place in Rickards High School and then Godby High School. Today, TCC has 7 campuses and enrolls around 15,000 students annually.
TCC thanks our community for 58 years of support. We look forward to moving into the future together.
Oh my God, what happened to you? You're walking so crooked.
Well, I was walking my alligator and I tripped on a cypress knee and I spilled my margarita.
Oh my gosh, your margarita.
Yeah, I'm blowing my back completely out. I had to ride the alligator home. I don't know what to do. My back's killing me.
You're such a Florida man. You should know you should go to Finn Chiropractic.
Really?
You can go to their website and book an appointment and get you in as soon as possible. Go to finnchiro.com, FENNCHIRO.com.
You mean 24 hours a day I can make my appointment online and pay for it?
Yep, right on their website.
Wow, and it's discounted?
Yeah.
All right, that's what Florida man needs to do.
No lines, no waiting. Visit FenChiro.com to book your next appointment with a discount. FENNCHIRO.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com. It's Fen Chiropractic, where the chiropractors love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Hold my beer. I'm going to Finn Chiropractic.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick, professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
3 NFL teams from the state of Florida could clinch their division with a win on Sunday. It's pretty simple. Win their games, win their division. We'll start with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They will be in Nashville for a matchup against the Titans. Jacksonville, a 3.5-point favorite. The over-under at 41.5. The Jaguars come in with a 9-7 record. Tampa Bay Buccaneers looking to win the NFC South. They're on the road in Charlotte as they take on the Panthers. Tampa Bay is a 4.5-point favorite. The over-under has been set at 37.5. And then the Dolphins, who will be in the playoffs, they host the Bills for Sunday Night Football. Buffalo, a 3-point favorite. For the latest odds all the time, visit vsin.com. I'm Matt Pauley. This has been your action update on Tallahassee's Real Talk station, Real Talk 93.3.
It's Macy's one-day sale now with great deals of the day, like 40 to 60% off handbags, shoes, and accessories to complete any look. 50 to 65% off warm, on-trend coats for her, and 50% off designer bedding from Hotel Collection and more. Plus, get your online order even faster when you pick up in-store or curbside at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Progressive asks, what do a middle school slumber party,
Let's stay up all night. Yeah.
a sleep-deprived girl, an early morning paper route, and a poorly thrown rolled-up newspaper have in common?
Hey, my window!
They can become a fast-breaking news story.
Sorry, Mr. Thompson.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive for great savings and round-the-clock protection.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
Your heating and air conditioning system doesn't check with you before it takes a break. That's why we're always ready to help. Any day, anytime, anywhere. And with our annual service agreement, there are no overtime charges. Ever. At Verno Heating and Air, we will always be there for you.
Barry knows heating and air conditioning.
License CAC 1816186.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely.
of the scenarios that intrigue me going into the weekend for the NFL. Week 18 is usually not that interesting. It is this week because 11 teams don't know their playoff fate, 5 open spots. There are even more scenarios than that where you can have like the combination reaching something like 16 different things can happen. It's bizarre what all is still out there. But because of that, there are some really watchable games. And by watchable, I mean games that we can gamble on together. And you're welcome. Yesterday, towards the end of the show, I told you all to place money on USF to cover the -5.5. And guess what USF did, everybody? They jumped aboard the cover train. And so did you, if you listened to me yesterday on Redemption Thursday. And by the way, Tom Lang got his prediction right as well. And we know of one lucky listener, one smart listener, who comboed our 2 picks yesterday and made him some money and a little parlay and then sent us a picture of the winnings online. I think you saw that too, did you not, Tom?
I did. In fact, that particular person's played them individually and parlayed them together. So I don't know. Look, these are just for entertainment purposes only. Now, a lot of times they are winners, but it's for entertainment purposes only. I do have an NHL pick for you tonight whenever you want.
That's late in the show. We'll do it late in the show.
There we go.
I've got wagers galore going on for real money, real cash. I'm betting illegally as well as legally here as we go into the weekend, Tom. Lots at stake here. I just placed a 2-bet parlay on the Lions alternate line -2.5 and the Bears +3.5 combo. I think the Bears are going to upset the Packers.
Okay. What was the first leg of that?
Lions -2.5.
Okay. All right.
So we're gonna combo that. We're moving the numbers around. I love playing with the numbers and having some fun there so that you get your positive odds and all that good stuff. So we had fun. And then I'll continue on my run here in college basketball. I'm off to a good start. Just started jumping on board and feeling like I got a little bit better sense of what's happening. I'll tell you, the product's not good. It makes it tough. College basketball is not great. It's not great. And when we're not good, it makes it even harder for me to spend a lot of time on it, but I do like to. And, of course, I'll be watching all weekend long on my golf bets. I need Tom Kim to finish in the top 20. He's currently in the top 20. I need Luke List to finish in the top 20. He's still in the top 20. Sepp Straka, pizza money to win it, 3 off the lead currently. We'll see what he does, but I also have him in a top 20 bet. I have a top 10 bet as well with some obvious favorites. I did take a top 10 for Patrick Cantlay. We'll see. He's at 7 under, a couple off the lead. I'm looking good right now. So we're off to a good start with golf bets.
Was that minus money for Cantlay?
Yes.
On a top 10?
Yeah.
That was kind of like the allow me to buy these other bets kind of a bet.
Yeah, because you want to fall back on some sure things. Like if you're going to take if you're gonna bet Scheffler, I mean, obviously you're gonna wear it. I mean, he's the favorite to win the tournament. Now, where the nice middle ground that I thought was like coupling him with Aberg and then taking somebody like Eric Cole and putting those 3 together and then seeing your odds get more towards -150 and then maybe trying to find a third. I wanted to go Vincent Norman. Who had such a good year. And by the way, that's Florida State's own. And he came on last year, of course, got his first ever win. So on the PGA Tour, and he's in this event. I don't know where he currently sits, but I don't think he played very well yesterday. If I'm mistaken, I think he was just kind of even, whatever he was. You can't be even here. Like your winners of this tournament every year, when we get to Sunday, you're going to see some gaudy numbers. You're going to see, unless the winds start whipping up, you're going to see -28, -33 winning this tournament. So if you're sitting around par, you're getting boat raced.
If you have the right kind of app that does, over-unders essentially for every single player in the field, you need, not every app does that. But Vincent is a great player to wait for a bad round and then play the next day on the under. Because he really likes to go low and then do something middling. So if he did shoot, say, 71 or above yesterday, I don't know what he did. But if it was a number in the 70s and you could get him on an under 69.5, under 68.5, I would play it all day because he usually bounces back from an average round with a really good one.
I'm rooting for it. So, by the way, the Alabama offensive lineman, Terrence Ferguson, has arrived in show while we've been here doing this. He has arrived over on campus. Terrence Ferguson is a big man, and he has arrived here at Florida State, and we'll see. It's funny, I mentioned yesterday that any of the linemen that struggled for Alabama are likely still a take. So if you struggled to snap the ball at Alabama, but you started 14 games at Alabama, I'll take my chances, Tommy. I'll take my chances that we'll figure out a way to utilize your skill set.
Well, yeah. Maurice Smith is returning for year 92 in the program, and that's great. If Terrence can line up next to him, play guard. Awesome. Bully for us. The thing I was thinking about in the first hour, and since you brought up the offensive line, here's my opening. If Lucas Simmons has a nice spring camp and things seem to be coming together, if your starting tackles are Lucas Simmons and Darius Washington, all right, man.
Darius on the right side, yeah.
You get this kind of a kid lined up next to Maurice, and you find yourself another interior line. You're starting to put some things together at that point, and the O-line becomes dangerous. But I am building this house of cards, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's out of stone, on the idea that Lucas Simmons, now cleared, is going to have a big-time camp in the spring. He's got to hit the weight room hard, and then has another good camp in the fall. Because you can even start Darius at left and move Lucas to right and grow him into the position of left tackle. But if those are your two bookends and Lucas really earns it, that speeds up everything for this offensive line, and suddenly it becomes a position of, dare I say, strength. But we'll see. There's a lot of work for Lucas in between now and then.
So here's what I think, and we get into, I just mentioned defining our terms, and you and I have talked about this a lot over the years. I always think it is certainly important to do so. I think, what happens is, within the shades of gray, people want to define yes, no, right, wrong, bad, good, and it's very difficult to do. Florida State could put together an offensive line next year like the one you're describing, and I would tell you that is doable, that's a good offensive line. It's not an elite offensive line. And so we get to a place where that's what I'm striving for. That's what I want to see. I want to see, I don't want to come in and say, yeah, they're pretty good up front. That pretty good up front going into last year felt good to say. 2 years ago, it felt really good to say, I think they're going to be pretty good up front, because they had been ass sorry up front for years prior to that. And as we all know, if you're ass sorry on the line of scrimmage, you cannot win anything meaningful. You can fake your way to some wins. You can steal some wins here and there with great coaching, offensive ingenuity, all that stuff. You can find a way to beat the bad to middling teams on your schedule if you're substandard on the offensive line. But you can't beat anybody who's good. You can't beat it. Louisville's a good example to some extent, by the way. Watching that Louisville offensive line, and Brom's a good coach. He found a way to get Louisville to drop 30-plus a game this year. But, man, that group wasn't good. And when they faced Florida State's very good defensive line, they got humiliated. They couldn't block any of those guys. That game was over. And I don't like waiting for the inevitable when I'm kind of getting through a season with they're pretty good group in front of me. I want to get to a place where I can say, and it's easier said than done, that's a really good group. That's a great segment. Now let's turn our attention to the next place we need to build towards great. I don't want year over year to become, we'll get by with that group this year. That's what I'm trying to avoid. That's where stockpiling badasses comes into play. And we're always going to be realists on this show. Can you have a good year with just a good offensive line? Absolutely you can. Can you be great? No, you cannot. No, you cannot. I think that's true of the defensive line. Can you have a pretty good group up front, maybe that's lacking some depth and maybe some NFL-level talent? Can you get by with that and win a lot of games? You can. Can you be great? No. No, you can't be great. And so that's unless you have something preternatural at quarterback, like a freak show that nobody can hang. Look, Vince Young at Texas is how I would define that, right? Some guy where the whole thing could fall apart, but you've got the best player on the field, and it's not close. He's a different guy altogether. You know, we watched – hell, you go back through. There have been 4 or 5 guys like that where you go, oh, my Lord, that is breathtaking. That is – what are you going to do with that? They're going to get away with being butt-ass average here, here, and here because that dude is going to make the difference because he has the ball in his hand on every play. Cam Newton at Auburn. Come on, man. That Alabama team was way better than Auburn. The second half of that game is Cam Newton going, I'm the best player out here, and it's really not that close. It's not debatable. Watch this. Watch me run around and make you children look foolish. So unless you have that, Tom, you better have the goods up front.
I was going to say that day was a good Libations Friday memory because we were at AJ's Sports Bar and Grill for that game, and we were on the air for most of the first half. And then as we got off the air and went to the bar, as we did for a little post-show beverage, you saw the rally happen. And
as one is wont to do.
Yeah, that was a good, fun Friday afternoon with a weird Iron Bowl on a Friday. Very strange, but that's the way it was. I am interested to see as a lot of people are chiming in the chat. I mean, I'm proud of the audience. You've cultivated a good audience here, buddy, because anytime the offensive line comes up, there's a lot more activity in the chat. And this is where it gets interesting if you're talking about projecting with confidence or feeling trepidation about the offensive line. If some of those young players step up in spring, and we'll see if they shuffle the pieces around. I mean, you're bringing back a lot of the old guard again for one more year, and some of them are versatile and some of them are not. But how they fit in with a guy like Ferguson, if you can land him, maybe another offensive lineman or two, and then those young players, are there position changes? Cross-training happens, but are there going to be some position changes that maybe we can talk about, maybe not? I'm interested to see how Armella slots this spring. Where do they play him? This is a humongous camp for him. Ditto for Jalen Early. It's a tremendously important camp for Jalen Early's development. Lucas Simmons, how much time, how much run does he get? Andre Otto, how fast is he rising? But what positions are they starting to slot these players in? And maybe that tells us a bit of the story of how confident they are that they might have some internal solutions, because this year can change that. This is your 3rd year now in the system. Let's go. It's time.
Well, this is where, and it's always kind of nuanced, but this is where you kind of look at Alex Atkins and say, all right, I mean, remember, this was a shiny, shiny star 2 years ago, Alex Atkins. I think some of the shine is off of Alex right now. Doesn't mean it can't get it back. But if those young players you're talking about don't emerge and don't find a role, use Armella for an example. My man's been here for a minute now. We know what he was coming out of high school and what he was thought to be. How come that dude can't find the field with any degree of consistency? Why isn't he getting better? Why, when we talk about Armella, do we watch practice and say, good day, bad day? But they're extremes. They're real good days and real bad days to the point where they can't trust him. So you're going to be watching for a lot of reasons. Do the young guys show real growth? Do we get a level of consistency that match the projection of those young men when they signed Florida State coming out of high school? Are they arriving to the place that we thought they could be, that we all projected them to be when they came here a couple of years ago? So let's see what happens. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I do want to see some of the younger guys step up, and we haven't seen it at the rate that we'd like. I still think they've got a couple of players we really like. Otto's guy that we both like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We both like him a lot. I think he's going to be a real good player. And Simmons, we know the situation. We documented it on yesterday's program. It was unfortunate, but that was a young man who couldn't play last year. So now we know he's cleared and ready to go, and I'm excited for him. I'm rooting for him. I hate to see something taken away from a young man, and now he's got an opportunity here. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Orthopedic pain and injury deserves effective treatment options now, so you feel better fast. Whether you have joint pain that won't subside or an urgent orthopedic injury, we are the specialists to get you back on your feet. And there's only one thing better than fast care: expert care. We believe you deserve both. TOC, only experts. Learn more at teamtoc.com.
Hello, I'm Dana Brooks.
And I'm Jimmy Basic of Basic Brooks Law Offices.
Traffic cameras are everywhere these days.
And Basic Brooks is partnered with RoadProof to get access to all their vast network of cameras.
This is a valuable tool to help us search for evidence that could help you if you were involved in an accident.
If you've been hurt in an accident, call Basic Brooks and we'll find out if the proof you need is out there.
Call Basic Brooks and we'll do everything we can to help you come back stronger.
Call us now at 850-777-7777.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service, right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Give your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
Choose Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassie.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk radio show. Tune in every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. where I provide clear answers to all your questions about Medicare.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news.
Have some business to take care of here as I always love when we don't have I don't know, when we're not in the midst of a season. Like, Tom, how you're going to navigate this next segment, how you're going to have are we going to pivot to something different, to a different sport, and not use first down, second down, third down, fourth down? I don't know what's the equivalent of red zone. The segment is called red zone, so I don't know really what we could do. NFL's still playing, so you can certainly do it all the way through. I want it on your mind as we get through football, how we can keep red zone name brand recognition, elite spot, great collaboration, but also be able to answer these kinds of questions. So I'll let you answer that in a second. But in the interim, you guys know that my man Adam Tolliver, he is a fellow Nole, and he and his folks over at Artisan Financial Strategies, well, they're getting you prepared big time. And we also know that the 5 years leading up to your retirement date and the immediate 5 years after are critical times for you to plan for you and your family. And this is the group you want to turn to help you do it. Whether you're at midfield looking to plan ahead, or if you're looking to punch it in on the goal line, you need to make sure you know how much money you can spend without running out of it. Protect yourself and your family against rising healthcare costs, or carefully plan your legacy. The Artisan team brings a combined 30-plus years of planning experience. That's what you want to go to. That's what you want to learn from. That's what you want to collaborate with. For more information, go to NoleRetirement.com. That's all one word, NoleRetirement.com. Want to hit it? Hit it.
Welcome to the majesty,
Every freaking rep.
the elegance,
To win the game. Oh, he hits the upright. It's no good.
you have entered
Someone burned down the funeral home. You burnt the funeral home.
lives will be changed,
Sideline. Touchdown. Unbelievable.
mothers will cry,
When you see your players give all that they have and you lose that way, it's tough.
legacies are etched into eternity.
I know who I am.
North, South Dakota was his brother from West Virginia.
This is the Red Zone.
It's good to know.
All right, Tom. By the way, Jimbo's made the news in Florida State land because of an interview he gave, and which he mentioned that Florida State should have been in the college football playoff, told some stories from the 2013 squad, noted how great that team was. I was happy to hear him say it. He's not wrong. They were simply incredible when you look at point differential and all that stuff. So he can be fun in situations like that when he's not looking over his shoulder and suspecting that you're out to get him.
He was talking about how, margin of victory was the greatest in the modern era. I think Army had a bigger one, and
1966 or whatever it was, yeah.
I'm sure they did, first of all, would be the thing. I'm sure they did, Jimbo. I'm sure that's correct. Is it true, though, I haven't looked it up, that LSU broke our scoring record by 1 point with all the extra games?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Wow. Yeah. Jeez.
Got to double check that, yeah.
And Jameis was sitting at halftime 5 times. Well, also in the second quarter against NC State, Jimbo, I think you yanked him in the first half of that particular game.
That was the famed game in which NC State's players cowered in the game. It was a weird thing to watch. It was unsettling, actually, watching guys of that caliber have no desire to be out on the field. None. NC State's players looked like our players against Georgia in the Orange Bowl. That's sort of no moss. We got no shot here.
Yeah, well, when you have 35 points dropped on you in a quarter, that'll happen.
It'll hurt your feelings. All right, buddy. First down. Let's go. What do you got for me?
I did. It was a bit of a heavier lift to form 4 questions this week, but we got it done. Done.
All right.
With the premise that FSU will deploy an 8-man rotation on the offensive line next season.
Okay.
How many of the following will be in the 8-man rotation? Julian Armella, Jalen Early, Lucas Simmons. How many of those 3 young men will be in the rotation next year?
An 8-man rotation for our offensive line, and the 3 players are – sorry, there was a glitch. The 3 players are?
Armella, Early, and Simmons.
Okay. I, like you, think there's a distinct possibility that Simmons is going to emerge and be in that rotation. They like Early a lot, so I think he'll be in the rotation. 2. The answer is 2.
Okay. It's going to be actually tough if you bring in another offensive lineman or 2 because of all the returners. I mean, in no particular order, Darius, Maurice, Keandre Jones, Robert Scott. Now, you can't count on all those guys to be healthy.
You sure can't.
As we sit here today. But if you have those players back, in addition to a Ferguson from Alabama and then the young play, I mean, it does get.
You didn't mention. Did you mention Robert Scott?
I did.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And not that you can trust him either, but I'm just. Yeah. I mean, we certainly can't trust him. And And that's not a knock. I'm not trying to be mean. Dude couldn't stay on the field ever. So
it's a fair concern. Second down.
Early and Simmons will be in that rotation though.
So second down after linebacker, the specific area you want to see addressed in the portal, and you got to be specific. So for example, you have to say edge rusher or you have to say guard. So where would you go next?
That's funny. I like that you said aside from linebacker. Mm-hmm. You mean you knew that I wasn't overwhelmed and excited about Justin Cryer, Omar Graham, and Blake Nicholson?
I had, you know what? You're very hard to read sometimes, but I figured that was the case.
Guard.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Third down. More likely to happen, the Florida Gators go over 500 with their schedule next season, or Florida State wins the ACC.
Florida State wins the ACC. Hands down, not close. Yeah, all day, every day.
Okay, but you're projecting. So
Florida's going to suck, and that schedule is the worst I've ever seen for somebody who sucks. They are done. That is, if you were elite, you would struggle with that schedule. They're not close to elite. They are in shambles, falling to pieces, and they're about to play the hardest schedule I've ever seen put together. Those lucky bastards will be fortunate to win 4 games. They're terrible.
I wanted an opportunity to bring up that schedule because I think we should every so often this offseason just to smile. So fourth down now.
I mean, come on, man.
You'll see that there will be a lead into a question next week that I can use. So I only need 3 more. But the player you are most excited to watch in spring camp on offense, and you can't say Lucas Simmons.
Player I'm most excited to see play?
On offense, but you cannot say Lucas Simmons.
Well, I'll go back to listen. I'm really, really excited about the running back coming in, but he's a true freshman, so I don't think that I can do that. I'll have to go at wide receiver and say Hakeem. I'm torn because I almost want to say Destin. I'll be honest there. I do. I almost want to say Destin. I thought. Listen, he showed me a little something against Georgia. I thought you're beginning to see the signs of a guy who could be a big, big part of what you're doing on offense. And I just wish he hadn't gotten hurt this year with that ankle. I'm going to say Hakeem because the physical tools are unbelievable. And I do think that if those 2 guys are healthy, they're going to both be stars for this segment group. But, yeah, I feel really good about them. If I could trust Vendravius Jacobs, Tom, I could say him. I like our receivers. I really do. I think they're all very talented. They don't have a ton of production on the field, obviously. We know that from watching this year. But there were glimpses, and we get to see practices as well. And a lot of times, before a guy has a big breakout on the field, for fans to go, oh, wow, who's that guy? And this is not like condescending. It's just the benefit of being at a practice on a daily basis. So we'll see a guy and we're like, man, wait till the fans see what that guy's going to be. You know what I mean? Like just because they haven't, and he's not a starter, so he's not out there very often. And you'll watch a kid and go, he's going to be a star. Wait, remember the first time we watched Trey Benson run when he was not hampered by the knee, and they took the reins off and they told him, go play, because for a while there he was in the green jersey and it was sort of like, well, let's go easy here, and they wouldn't let him run. And then all of a sudden they're like, you're cleared completely. Let's go. And that day we were on the sideline and he caught the corner and ran right past the 2 of us. And we went, whoo, there's no chance I want any part of that. 225 running that fast. There are a lot of receivers like that in this team. Hakeem, Destin, and Vendravius Jacobs, all 3 fit in that category.
Yeah, that day for Trey Benson, he sliced through the air of the IPF. You could hear it. You could hear him.
God, I wish somebody could have seen it.
And then with Destin, I believe he was the deep post that was wide open that we missed, that Brock missed. But that was impressive. The break on the ball, all of it, like the break out of the route, I should say.
Yeah. It was a smooth route. And also that's a great effort on the catch on the sideline. That's a great throw. He gets his feet in, which is really hard to do, but that shows elite body control. He just dropped the ball when he hit the ground, or he juggled the ball a little bit. But he hit the ground hard. It was a really impossible catch, but he almost made it. And it's enough for you to go, whoo, that's in there. No, it's there. They've got they're good, man. They're good at wide receiver, and if they bring in one more, they're going to be very, very good at wide receiver. If you could trust Portier to ever stay healthy. But anyhow, the point would be they've got players at that position. I'm excited about a lot of those guys, but I'll say Hakeem to answer your question.
Well, and that's the thing that DJU does best is deep ball. I think that fits pretty nicely, especially if they do close this Jalen Brown kid from LSU. He could be a gadget player, but he was sub 1100 meter in high school.
Fast as hell.
Sub 22 seconds in the 200. So it's sustainable, explosive speed that Brown brings to the table. And if you're trying to get vertical and take more deep shots than we did last year, you brought in the right quarterback with the right arm to do that.
Again, we want to thank our friends at Artisan Financial Strategies who sponsor this segment. Great returns on folks who have taken up my advice to go check them out and learn more about what they can do for you in managing your money. NoelRetirement.com, all one word, NoelRetirement.com. Go check for yourself. Adam's a great Noel. It's Jeff Cameron Show. Time to pick some games with my mom. We'll do it next.
Our local news now.
If you purchased some charcuterie meats at Sam's Club recently, it's time to check your refrigerator. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food Safety and Inspection Service is recalling certain ready-to-eat charcuterie sampler meat products from Busetto Foods of Mount Olive, New Jersey, over concerns the products may be tainted by salmonella. They're also trying to determine if the products are related to a multi-state salmonella outbreak. There's concern that these potentially tainted products may still be in people's refrigerators since they have a use-by date of April 27th of this year. Those who have them shouldn't eat them, instead throw them away or return them to the place of purchase. A new nonprofit private school is coming to Tallahassee, B&B Scholar Academy. The school will open in the fall of 2024 and will aim to serve 150 students. The website, www.bbsacademy.org. More information regarding enrollment. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Kara Foster with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunny today with our high nearing 67. Some showers and thunderstorms likely overnight, cloudy with a low around 56. Southeast winds between 5 and 20 and gusting as high as 30. Some showers and thunderstorms likely into Saturday, otherwise some sunshine with a high of 72 and mostly cloudy with a low of 47 Saturday night. Sunny and 61 Sunday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 37 degrees.
Warning. The following Zaxby's ad may contain messaging upsetting to Philadelphians. Zaxby's took the iconic Philly sandwich, the quote-unquote perfect Philly sandwich, and made it perfecter by putting fried chicken on it. That's right, fried chicken on a Philly. And while Philadelphia might find it offensive, you can find it at your local Zaxby's. Finally, the Philly done right. Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff?
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside.
By the way, 2 games tomorrow. Pittsburgh at Baltimore, Houston at Indianapolis. The Houston at Indianapolis one is the one. That's the 8:15 where it's all on the line. Gotta have it. And I described the improbable scenarios involving both those teams at the start of the year and how it is we would have never suspected that this game would mean anything. Great job of coaching by those 2 individuals. So we shall see. And then, of course, the rest of the slate is on Sunday. So if you would, good sir, cue it up. Let's go.
And now for another edition of the Family Pick. Nick.
Go to your room! Ma, the meatloaf!
Take it away, Jeffrey.
All right, Mama, you hold a 2-game lead, and we're in the final week of the regular season. I don't know if you heard the beginning of the show.
I didn't.
Okay. Well, at the beginning of the show, I laid out how crazy this final week is, this week 18. 11 teams don't know their playoff fate, 5 open spots. It ties the record in NFL history to 2006 for the most amount of spots available entering the final week of a year. So a lot of these games either have playoff implications in terms of seeding or outright whether or not a team gets in or does not get in, or needs somebody else to help them get in. So it's a crazy setup this weekend, and I hope you did your homework.
Well, I did. I did some, and then after we spoke earlier today for a short minute, and you were telling me to check out ESPN, and I did. I listened to ESPN a lot, but I didn't go to all the analyzing of the game. So I did. I actually did change a couple of my picks after going through all that, and I probably changed them and I probably screwed up.
Well, I want it to be known and pointed out to the listeners and the viewers on Warchant TV, the thousands and thousands upon thousands of people that are locked into the Jeff Cameron Show currently,
yes,
how fair-minded I am. Now, you can think about what kind of man that reveals me to be, to call my mother, whom I trail by 2 games, well in advance of this segment and inform her of the need to do research and homework on these games because of the delicate nature of who starts and who doesn't and what's on the line. It once again solidifies for many of you that I am the hero you know me to be.
And I raised a very honorable son.
There it is. That's what it does. Yeah.
That's what it does.
All right. So here we go. Right off the bat, Pittsburgh at Baltimore, 4:30 tomorrow afternoon.
I know it, and that is in full disclosure. That's one of the games I changed, because I picked Baltimore. Obviously they're the better team, but there's a lot more for Pittsburgh on the line. And then I never realized until I did this research that Pittsburgh has beaten Baltimore at home the last 3 times they've played, even when Lamar Jackson was playing. So, having said that, I took Pittsburgh.
So it is interesting because they find a way every year, do the Steelers, to somehow make the playoffs, and the numbers are very rarely impressive, and yet they do. And Tomlin's a great coach. I'm going to take the Ravens to upset them with their backups, Mama. Right off the bat, we have one different. Here we go.
Here we go. I know. Well, see there, like I said, that's why a lot of times I don't read all that stuff, and I just kind of go with what I know and my gut instinct and all of that, and I just pick them. That's what I do. But now, like I said, I've gone and done my research, and I may have outsmarted myself.
Well, you maybe not. You could just beat me, and I think, listen, the odds maker have the Steelers as the favorite, so the folks in Vegas agree with you. I just happen to play a hunch here. I kind of feel like it's going to work out for the Ravens in this game. I don't think that Pittsburgh team is very good. And so I'm going to pick the Ravens with Huntley playing quarterback to find a way to win it and go from there. I'm not a big Mason Rudolph guy. Houston is at Indianapolis. What a great game, and the most improbable of seasons for these 2 teams in particular. It makes 0 sense that they are sitting in a win and you are in scenario. Remember before the season, Mom, when the Colts took Anthony Richardson and everybody wondered, oh, man, he hasn't played a lot of football. He is raw as a passer. We'll see what they become. Well, he comes in and he's electrifying as an athlete, not a great passer, but he gets hurt. And that's what happens when you run around. So they have to go to Gardner Minshew. So they have a new coach. They have an owner feuding with their running back. They lose their first-round draft pick at quarterback, and here they sit with a chance to make the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Texans, new coach as well, and D'Amico Ryans, they draft C.J. Stroud. He turns out to be the right guy in his rookie season, breaking records, and if they win, they're in. So this is a really improbable game between these two teams, kind of one of the better stories in the NFL this year.
I know. I agree with you. I took Houston.
I, too, took Houston to go on the road and win this game. I think their offense is going to be a little too much for Indianapolis to keep up with. Give me Houston on the road to get the win. Should be a fun game. All right, now we go to the Sunday games. Cleveland at Cincinnati.
Yeah, I took Cleveland.
I did too. I did too.
Yeah, I don't know about. I mean, the game is kind of not a very good game. But anyway, I took Cleveland.
Minnesota's at Detroit.
Oh yeah, I took Detroit. I took Detroit. I think Minnesota could win, but I took Detroit.
Yeah, I took Detroit too. I took Detroit as well. All right, Jacksonville at Tennessee.
I took Jacksonville.
The Jets at the Patriots in a game that they would need to pay us large sums of money to watch.
I know, isn't that the darn truth? I took the Jets. I mean, I don't know why, and I know it's at New England and everything, and they're talking about it maybe Belichick's last game as a coach of New England, but they're pitiful, and the Jets aren't much better, but I took the Jets.
Give me the Patriots. They're not going to let Belichick lose at home, and he has owned the Jets. Give me the Patriots at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. That's our second game difference.
I know.
All right. Atlanta at New Orleans.
I took New Orleans.
I, too, took New Orleans. Tampa Bay at Carolina.
I'm taking Tampa Bay now. Damn it, they need to win this game. They should have won last week. They didn't. Now this is it, do or die. So, and Carolina's terrible. Carolina didn't even score a point last week. So, I know we struggled with them the last time we played, but anyway, I'm taking Tampa Bay. They've got a lot on the line.
Yes, they do. They have to win this game to win the division and make the playoffs. They lose it, they're out. Period. End of story.
Is that right? Because I thought there was a wild card involved or something.
No, they're screwed. They got to win the game. They need to win the game here to make the playoffs. And they're well. I mean, there are some scenarios. You're right about that, but it's not. You got to win the division. The NFC South is awful. They're 8-8. They're pretty well screwed if they lose the game.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, also because New Orleans is going to be Atlanta, and then you would lose the division. Chicago at Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Go Bears, baby. Here we go. We got another one. I'm thinking the Bears get the revenge that they've been looking for some time. They can knock the Packers out of the playoffs. They're going to play loose. The Bears have won 5 of their last 7 games. They've played well down the stretch.
They have. I know, but I think doesn't Green Bay? I mean,
yes.
They have to. Don't they have to win this game? I mean,
yes, they have to win the game or they're out of the playoffs. That is correct.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Let's go Bears. It'll be fun to watch. All right, Broncos at Las Vegas. The Raiders. There you go.
Yeah, I took Las Vegas.
I did too. Have nothing to play for, but oddly, there are some funny scenarios there where that game could influence who gets in and who gets out. Between Jacksonville and the Steelers. If both Jacksonville and the Steelers lose, the winner of this game will determine if Denver wins, then the Steelers go, and if the Raiders win, then the Jags would go. So all of a sudden, a game that means nothing will mean everything to those two franchises.
Oh, wow. Oh, my Lord. And you have no control over it.
That's right. It's beautiful.
Thing.
Yeah. Philadelphia is at the Giants.
I know it. I tell you what, I took Philadelphia, but I tell you what, they are just falling apart.
They are falling apart. They are in shambles.
They are in shambles, but I mean the Giants are terrible, and I just had to take Philadelphia.
I took Philadelphia too, but I don't feel good about it, and I wouldn't bet it to save my life. I wouldn't be surprised at all. There's a weird part of me that feels like, 5:45 Eastern time on Sunday, we're going to be like, the Giants are up 21-3 on the Eagles. I mean, like, serious. I don't think we would be shocked. Seattle at Arizona.
Seattle and Arizona. I took Seattle.
Kansas City at the Chargers.
I know it. I took Kansas City. They did come through last week barely, but I took Kansas City.
It's a weird game. I think I saw the Chargers are favored in the game. Kansas City sitting everybody they have. But then I thought to myself, well, what does that mean? It's not like the Chargers have anybody right now. Those guys aren't playing for anything.
I know. I took Kansas City. I know that's one of those crazy games.
I'll take it too. The Rams at the 49ers.
49ers.
They're not playing anybody, are they? Are they playing their people? I don't think they are they? No, they're not. Neither team really serves them to do anything here. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I took them, but because I wasn't sure about that.
You know who's playing? Carson Wentz versus Sam Darnold. Those are the two quarterbacks in this game.
Oh my!
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I guess I'll take San Francisco as well. Neither team cares. Dallas at Washington.
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah, that's the easiest one. And then finally, a game of great importance would be the Bills, who could get the 2 seed, or they could straight up miss the playoffs. So Buffalo at Miami.
I know it. That is a barn burner. I took Buffalo.
I'm wrestling, but I'll take Buffalo as well. I think Waddle being out for the Dolphins hurts them. They're 1-4 against playoff teams. Point differential -84. They've been bad against good teams, but it's kind of a toss-up. Fun game to watch. Can't wait. That is at 8:20 Eastern Sunday night for all the marbles there in the division. Love you, Mother. Talk to you soon.
All right, love you too. We got 3 different, so I'm either gonna maybe be up 1 or 2 or down 1.
Yeah, you're going to be losing. Here's where I make my move. This is it. Now you're in trouble.
Well, I may be. All right. Have a good weekend.
You too. Love you too, Mom. Bye-bye. All right, there we go. You have any vehement disagreements with those boys? Guys feel good about it?
No, I think that slate looks fine. Oddly enough, I think both of you wanted to pull the trigger last week on Arizona over the Jets, or over the Eagles, excuse me.
We absolutely did. I told Matthew, I was like, man, I kind of feel like Arizona's going to beat the Eagles. The Eagles feel like they're in free fall. And I don't say that just to say it. I mean, they do. They look like a team that don't like each other right now. They're completely disjointed. Nothing seems to be going right. Their defense is pure ass. There's just a lot to not like about the Eagles right now. But it's the freaking Giants. How do you
2 weeks ago when the Buccaneers were running all over the field, up and down the field on the Jags, I was at a local pub, the one I'll be at in about a half an hour as I finish up Friday. I'm bringing the laptop with me to the pub.
You're damn right you are.
There were 2 Buccaneers fans there, me and some random guy. There were no Giants fans. There were no Jets fans. It is dead silent up here. People are talking about Juan Soto more than they're talking about what's going on in the NFL up here right now.
The Bucs fan in that pub that you frequent from Tampa?
No, he has Northeastern roots.
He's a fake Bucs fan, isn't he?
No, because he was really happy for Baker. Like, he's like, I like Baker. Baker, he's us. He's who we are. I'm like, all right, I hear you. But he was on his 5th Budweiser and JMO round, so I didn't hang out with him too much.
That's an interesting combination.
That's a thing in the Irish pub. A shot and a beer is a thing.
Well,
man.
I've got a good friend who you happen to know who does a shot and a beer each time, and I'm always like, brother, it's Tuesday. I mean, we got to.
I walked out with my wife. We're getting a couple of beers, and then we're getting food to go, like at a local restaurant nearby, and that was it. My man was already well into his day by the time we were in the second quarter of the Buccaneers game.
And I'm just not buying he's a Bucs guy. We'll see. I don't know. I think that was some Brady leftover right there.
Oh, it could be. He could be a New England fan for all I know that roots for Brady.
It was a Brady leftover.
I wasn't about to ask him 3 questions in a row because then I'm stuck for an hour. You know how that goes. What about your picks? I've got hockey picks. Do you have one?
Yeah, I did a bunch of picks already that I've given out here today. Let me go to my my most recent bets. I gave you the 2-bet parlay. I took the Texans -1 against the Colts on the road. I like that bet quite a bit. I also took a 2-bet parlay that featured some alternative lines. I moved the Cowboys line around and then took the Texans again and coupled that with the Cowboys. I did take the Titans +3.5 against the Jags to cover. I don't like them to win, but just to cover. I have over 35 yards rushing for Josh Allen If you want a player prop, I killed this for much of the year. Didn't stay as hot as I was earlier, but I have Josh Allen over 35 yards. It's a must-have game. Must-have game. The Dolphins are missing a couple of their rush-ins. I'm going to have Josh Allen escape and make some plays with his legs here, over 35 yards rushing. I took the Bears +3, and then, of course, I've been on this Sepp Straka train where I got him in a top 20 at +325, a top 10, and I also have him as a winner at +4,000. JT Poston, top 20 at +145. Tom, you got time for your hockey bets? Make it happen.
I do. I like the Lions-Bears parlay teaser. I'm playing that one myself. Tonight, bet 60-minute lines, regulation lines in hockey. There's risk involved, but it gets you better odds. There's only a 3-game slate. Play Carolina over Washington in the 60-minute to win. So you're playing Carolina, 60-minute regulation line. That's a play. And then tomorrow for a slice, we'll call it a little pizza slice.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Hagel, Tampa Bay Lightning to score a goal. There's your player prop.
Nice. I like that. Good job with Hagel. Also, by the way, if you didn't have a chance to do it, maybe you can find some good odds going into the weekend. It'll be not what I got before the tournament began, but look for Ludwig Aberg to have a big year again. He was playing so well at the end of last year. I have him as a top 20 player at the Century as well. We'll see if he can do that. Great work, brother. Have a cold one for me. I appreciate you. Say hi to Dr. Quinn. Great job, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. Peace.